Minasan konnichiwa. Watashi no namae wa Toriso Vittori desu, and I have a proposition for you. You can have any one of your wishes granted. Any one of your hopes and dreams can become a reality. At a cost. You must become a magical girl and fight witches until you die. But when you die, you become a witch yourself. This is the premise of the Japanese anime series titled Madoka Magica, and today I plan on ruining it for everybody using one of my favorite books, the AP Physics textbook. The idea for this video originated in a Discord call, because of course it did. You see, some friends of mine were discussing Madoka Magica and they asked me what my wish would be if I were a magical girl. I was confused. Aren't all girls magical? I didn't know they got a wish, too. They explained it to me, and after they did, being a physics nerd, I had many answers to their question. But after watching the series, I had a question of my own. Are the magical girls just stupid? My point here being that the magical girls' wishes are not very good ones, and that reflects on their intelligence. Granted, they are all in middle school, so they're not exactly thinking about the optimal wish, and they're certainly not studying college-level physics. But even given the circumstances, it seems like they could have made better wishes. Let's take Sayaka, for example. You see, Sayaka wished for a very particular patient in a hospital to be healed of his illness so that he might play the violin again. Now, she could have easily wished for all of the hospital's patients to be healed, achieving her goal with additional benefits. Who knows, maybe there's enough music-oriented patients to form a sort of miracle band, maybe even a miracle musical, if you will. But alas, Sayaka only wished for the one patient to be healed. Another magical girl, Kyoko, wished for her father, a preacher, to be listened to by the people. Now, she could have just as easily wished for the people to just know what's best for them and others, and that would include listening to her father if his wisdom was truly of the highest caliber. Now that I have given evidence that the wishes in Madoka Magica are more often than not lackluster, I will pose my own wishes based off of the AP Physics textbook. I'll start with the weakest wishes and move on to more powerful ones over time. Chapter 20. Magnetism. Magnetism governs quite a bit of our lives. It's what makes things like cell phones and compasses possible. It protects our Earth from deadly radiation from the sun. But most importantly, some magnets, when you slide them together, make the clicky sound. If I wish to have control over all magnetic fields, then how would I defend myself against the witches? And how would I benefit myself? On surface level, the applications of controlling magnetic fields in combat are somewhat mediocre. What are you going to do, magnetize the witches? However, every magical girl, upon having their wish granted, is also granted a weapon to defend themselves with. This can be anything from a simple sword to a massive gun. This ends up being a rather useful mechanic in the universe of Madoka Magica, because most of the magical girls do not wish for things that could aid them in combat, and therefore a weapon is essential for their survival. My weapon of choice is a small but sharp neodymium magnet, as well as iron shards of varying size. Suppose I am facing a witch. Now, it's not entirely clear how a witch is killed. It just seems that if you beat it up to a certain extent, it will die like any living thing. Now, my combat tactics are simple and effective. I will use a slingshot to launch the sharp neodymium magnet into the witch's form. From there, I will scatter the iron shards into the air, and at the apex of their path, I will activate my wish and substantially increase the magnetic field of the neodymium magnet. The iron shards will rush towards the neodymium magnet, hitting the witch in the process. If the magnetic field is strong enough, it will likely obliterate it instantaneously. So we will be able to defend ourselves from the witches, but what will this new ability grant us? How can we benefit from it? Well, we could give our enemies cancer by opening up the magnetic field of the Earth above them, letting the radiation from the sun pour down on them like rain. But why do that when you can supercharge a motor and generate infinite electricity and sell it for a massive passive income? You could solve all of your problems with just a bunch of money. Chapter 5. Circular Motion and Gravitation. Technically, this chapter is about circular motion and gravitation, but I'm just going to be focusing on the part about gravity. Now, gravity is one of the 4 fundamental forces of nature. It's what's keeping you from flying off of the face of the Earth right now. What if I had control over the very thing that's keeping the sun from exploding? In order to fully understand the implications of this wish, you must first understand the equation for the gravitational force between 2 points, which looks like this. The force of gravity, represented by f of g, is equal to the gravitational constant 6.67 times 10 to the negative 11, multiplied by the quotient of the product of the scalar value of the two masses in the distance, or radius, squared. My theoretical wish would control the gravitational constant, as well as my selection of two masses in this equation. You may have noticed that the gravitational constant is extraordinarily small. If it were bigger, then perhaps you would be flattened into the Earth like a pancake. The easiest way to utilize this ability in combat is to simply increase the gravitational force between the witch and the Earth. They would experience a fall equivalent to that of a skydive at terminal velocity while they are touching the ground. As for personal benefits, you can once again create infinite energy with a perpetual motion machine. Not only that, but you can fly too by decreasing the gravitational pull between you and the Earth to 0, then utilizing a propeller to soar to new heights. Chapter 4. Dynamics. Newton's Laws of Motion. I could review more physics chapters, and as much as I want to, it would essentially boil down to, if I could control this one variable in this one equation, I could obliterate witches instantaneously and generate massive amounts of cash. So instead, we're just going to skip to the most powerful wish of them all. Time manipulation. For those of you who did your research and actually watched the series, you know that a character named Homura actually already has time manipulation abilities. So then, why am I mentioning this at all? It's because there's a fatal flaw in Homura's wish. It stops time. There are two important things that I have to note about Homura's ability. You see, in stopping time, you set the time variable in any physics equation to 0, essentially canceling out everything. So no force gets acted upon anything in stopped time. Additionally, when Homura stops time, then anything she touches will enter unstopped time with her. This is absolutely essential to her ability, because otherwise she would be trapped by the air molecules around her and could not move during stopped time. My time manipulation related wish would actually have to deal with time dilation. If I could increase or decrease the speed at which time is going for any particular object, I could become insanely powerful. The implications and applications of my wish are so vast that I don't even think it's worth mentioning them. You can just ponder on your own. I mean, I could do anything. I could throw a rock and make it go at the speed of a bullet, or I could speed up time for myself and travel to a different country by walking. There's no limit to what I could do, really. Ultimately, to answer my original question of are the magical girls stupid, I would say sometimes. You see, they could have put a lot more thought into their wishes and benefited so many other people in the process, but they just didn't. Now I turn the question to you. What would you wish for if you were a magical girl? Thank you for watching my video. My name is Rotary Salvatore, and I bid you farewell. There's something that bothered me in Madoka Magica that I just need to mention. There was a scene in which Kyoko was talking to Sayaka, and Kyoko gave Sayaka an apple, and then Sayaka just threw it away, and Kyoko got extremely mad because, like, you shouldn't waste food. Then directly after, she just threw an apple core, like, on the ground. Apple cores are edible. She wasted food!